Hello everyone, this is Didi from Dexplorion, and today we are going to remove the background from this image and make a perfect hair selection like this and make your image stand out. This series will be only dedicated to hair and fur selection, and we will be taking up a new image every time and try out different tools and techniques to achieve a perfect selection to the extent possible. We'll be working on this image today. If you observe the image, the first thing is that she is blonde, and blonde hair selection is the most difficult because of its color, and it adds to the problem where there is a busy background like this. Other than that, the rest will not be a problem because there is a clear-cut differentiation between the subject and the background. By the way, I've downloaded this image from unsplash.com where you can find relatively stock images and videos which you can use in your project, both personal and commercial. And if you haven't heard of it, check out the website, and I'll also provide the link in the description below. For the first part, we'll only be focusing on the selection of the body, and the hair part we will do it later. I'll be using the quick selection tool. You can use any of the selection tool you want. If you are just starting out and want to explore the different selection tools, I have a whole playlist dedicated to background removal process using different tools and techniques. I would suggest you have a look at them, and I believe the videos will be of great help to you. You can find them by clicking on the I button up there, and the link of the same will be given in the description as well. We'll click on the select subject here, and now Photoshop's own AI, Adobe Sensei, will try to figure out the subject in the image and make a selection of that. I'd say it does a pretty good job most of the time. You might find some discrepancies here and there that we can refine, but still you can see it's done a great job and saved us a lot of time. If you still think it needs some work, you can do it later on in the masking. We'll click here to add a layer mask and refine it a little further, especially the intricate areas. Make sure the layer mask of the image layer is selected, and we'll take the brush tool by clicking the B key. Make the brush size smaller by clicking the left square bracket key. Right click anywhere to open the brush settings and select the hard round brush. Make sure the foreground color is black, and we'll paint like this over the areas we want to hide behind the mask. To reveal, we have to change the foreground color to white by pressing the X key and paint. And we're gonna continue this process of hiding and revealing to other parts of the subject till we are satisfied. We are done with the body, and in the next step we'll be working on our hair. If you are finding this video interesting, please hit the like button, and if you want to watch more such contents, you can subscribe to the channel. Your support will be immensely appreciated. And now let's get back to our subject. Ideally, for the hair selection, what we will do is click on the select and mask and then use the refine edge brush tool to make the selection. But in this case, this technique doesn't work properly. The reason being the background is too busy and Photoshop is unable to differentiate between the subject and the background. So we'll cancel it and do it manually with the help of the brush tool. For that, I will keep foreground color white, and now make the brush size bigger by pressing the right square bracket key and paint on the adjacent areas to reveal like this. Now I will change the foreground color to black, make the brush smaller and paint along the edges of the hair. We'll mask out the stray hairs because that will be practically impossible to make the selection. We'll be keeping those parts which are thick and where background is not peeping through them. I'm very uncomfortable doing the vertical brush strokes, and if you happen to have the same problem, you can rotate the canvas to make it a little convenient for us. For doing that, we have to hold the R key and click and drag to rotate the canvas in whichever way we like. Don't worry, nothing is changed in our original canvas, it's only the view that has been rotated. We'll continue doing our masking. We are done with the masking. The mask is pretty decent, isn't it? Depending on the project you will be using it, you can either leave it here or go on with it. to add some stray hairs to make it more realistic, which we will be doing in the next step. You can hold the shift key and click here on the layer mask to deactivate the mask and see the original image and have a proper look at the image, especially the hairs, because now we are going to create or rather draw the stray hairs by using the custom brush. But before that, we will be adding a solid color adjustment layer, make it dark color and put it below the subject layer so that we can see properly what we are doing. Then we will add a new layer just above the subject layer and draw the hairs on this layer. I will rename the layer as hair strands. Brush tool is already active. If it's not, you know how to activate it. Just press the B key. I will right click on the canvas to open the brush settings, and now I will be using a custom brush called retouching hair brushes. It's a set of 20 brushes. I got this from brusheasy.com, where you can find a variety of Photoshop brushes which are custom made for specific purposes. And the best part is it's all free. Check out the website, and I'll also be leaving the download link of the brush in the description below. And now we have to take the sample for the brush, and for that we will click on the eyedropper tool and go to the top, and here select the sample size. By default, one sample will be selected. If you go with that, there might be some problem. Let me show you what I am talking about. We activate the brush tool again and hold the Alt or Option key and click here to take the sample, and now when we paint, you can see it's not blending well. This is because we have selected the point sample, and so Photoshop will pick up the color of that particular pixel we are clicking on. And for a human subject or a photograph, the color will never be flat. There will always be a gradient because of the light falling on the subject. So what we'll do now, we again go back to the eyedropper tool and now change the sample size to somewhat bigger value. 5x5 is good for most of the cases. What it will do is, now when we take the sample, it will consider an area of 5 pixel by 5 pixel and take an average color of that, and we get a nice gradient. Make sure all layers or current and below is selected so that it can take the sample from the layers below. We'll activate the brush tool again, and I will select this brush and take the sample from our hairs and make strokes like this. See the difference? Now I'll change the brush to this. With this we can draw a bunch of hair strands. Again take the sample and continue drawing like this. If you have overdone some strokes and feel like it's not required, you can select the eraser tool and erase the strokes like this. You can even adjust the flow here. I think this much will be enough, but if you want, you can continue. Now you can change the color fill layer to any color you like or place it on any other background, but before that we have to do one last thing. We'll select these two layers and convert it into a smart object, and we are done with the background removal. There is only one way of making the hair selection, and we will be covering the other techniques in our future videos. But right now, if you want to know what I have done with this subject, you should watch this video.